at 185,000 deadweight tons. Each ship consists of 34,000 tons of steel and requires 106,000 gallons of paint. But what is unique about these ships is a redundancy system that ensures a level of safety far beyond the requirements of Open 90.
We call it double-double. It's double hull, double engine, double propeller, double everything. And they're designed to enhance the safety of transporting oil out of Alaska waters. If the engine were to fail, the other one could operate independently and propel that ship. The same with the rudder. If you were to lock your rudder in and you couldn't move that rudder, you could actually shut down that engine and operate off of a separate propulsion system.
The rebuilding of BP's tanker fleet won't come cheap, as each Alaskan tanker will cost nearly $250 million. But BP has found at least one way to help offset the cost. Oil tankers reserve several tank compartments to store seawater. This is used to ballast the ship after cargo is discharged.
If you take a simple idea of an outer wall and an inner wall that we now call the double hull, you can use that space for ballast. When you do, you can use more of the internal tanks to carry more product, crude oil or gasoline or whatever you may be transporting. You actually get more efficient use of the space.
The Alaska Frontier will be the first of BP's new Alaskan-class oil tankers to begin service.
I name the Alaskan Frontier.
When the Alaska Frontier sails, it will be the safest tanker sailing in U.S. waters.
However, BP isn't the only company that is undergoing a massive rebuilding of its tanker fleet. New legislation has brought about the highest level of tanker construction since post-World War II.
The reason is the industry, ahead of the deadline, is beginning to build their double-hull tankers around the world. By 2010, which is still 5 years before the requirement for all double-hull, approximately 85% of the world's oil tanker fleet will be double-hulled.
But in spite of the new, stricter laws and regulations, there are critics who believe there are bigger issues at hand.
Double-hulling a tanker adds safety, for sure, but it's not going to fix the entire problem. It's a Band-Aid solution in the end. Oil tankers are not the problem. Oil is the problem. Our nation and most nations in the world are over-dependent on oil. We're addicted to oil.
While renewable energies are being developed, their evolution remains slow, and the world's demand for oil continues to increase. But oil is a non-renewable resource, and its supply will one day be exhausted.
Today we're talking about oil being available certainly for another handful of decades, 20, 30, 40, 50 as routinely talked about. So for the tanker owner, there is not a real concern today that the world is about to stop shipping oil. In parallel with the exploration of oil and the utilization of oil, gas is becoming a substitute in many cases for oil. It is the growth industry in terms of an energy source.
It's cleaner, it burns more efficiently, and has a huge role to play in reducing greenhouse gases and emissions around the world.
Transporting natural gas to the United States will be the job of the LNG, or liquid natural gas tanker. LNGs store the gas in liquid state by cooling it to a temperature of minus 256 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition to their more environmentally friendly cargo, LNGs are less polluting than oil tankers, using mainly natural gas for propulsion. And at 900 feet in length, with a draft of 36 feet, LNGs can enter ports that would be restricted to most large-sized oil tankers. While the current LNG fleet numbers just under 200, that number is expected to increase in the coming years.
Some reports suggest that by 2050 there will be as many LNG carriers, 450, 500, as there are very large crude carriers, oil carriers today.
Although oil tankers remain the most important energy lifeline to the world, the increase of the LNG fleet signals that its tenure of dominance is limited. Declining oil reserves combined with a global increase in energy consumption will inevitably force the proliferation of alternative fuels.
as alternatives emerge, as we start to develop other ways to get around in our cars, hopefully tankers will become obsolete. Hopefully refineries will become obsolete and we will get off of our oil addiction.
But the footprint left behind by these steel giants will endure for generations to come.
I think in the future there will be a realization that it was indeed a marvel of the time, a necessity of the time.
It's an industry that continuously improved, that used innovative techniques to make the movement of hydrocarbons even safer, that supplied much needed energy to places that before ships were built the way they are, you couldn't get the energy to them.
The oil tanker will forever be linked to the spectacular growth of the petroleum industry. It will serve as a reminder of a time when nations depended on oil from thousands of miles away to power the industrialized world.